The measure of association we use in a cohort study is the relative risk. So in a case control study, we talked about the use of an odds ratio. And the reason for that, again, is because we can't actually observe the incidence in a case control study. But the good thing is that in a cohort study, we actually can observe the incidence rate of disease. So we can see over a period of time how many people actually developed the disease. So we use a relative risk in a cohort study. This is basically a fraction. It just looks at the incidence rate in the exposed group and it compares it to the incidence rate in the unexposed group. So in a relative risk, we are literally just taking the incidence rate in the exposed and we are comparing it to the incidence rate in the unexposed. Here's what this looks like in terms of calculating your relative risk from a 2x2 table. What we do is that we set up our exposure variable here and our disease status here. And essentially what we're going to do is we are going to add these people across for our totals and then add these people down here for our totals for the unexposed. And what you get is this formula. So you're looking at how many people got the disease divided by the total number of people in the exposed group. And then you're dividing that by the total number of people who got the disease in this unexposed group divided by the total number of people in that unexposed group. So again, just looking at the number of people in the exposed group divided by all the people in the exposed group, the total number of people who got the disease in the unexposed group divided by the total number of people in the unexposed group. So that's how we get to this formula here, which you'll notice is very different from the odds ratio calculation. The interpretation of a relative risk can be thought of in the same way as the odds ratio. If you have results that are statistically significant, meaning they're not due to chance, then a relative risk greater than 1 indicates a positive relationship, that exposure might be a risk factor for that disease. And if you have a relative risk less than 1, that means that you potentially have a protective relationship, meaning that exposure might protect you from the disease of interest.